Alright, so for today's video, I'm taking off and replacing the ball joint here on the Subaru. So let's begin by removing the tire. So of course, before you jack up the vehicle, you want to loosen these lug nuts and then jack up the vehicle. That way you can actually get them off. Otherwise the tire's going to spin, so I've already done that. See, that's what I mean. But I got these loose enough, I can just break them loose now. Off comes the tire. Tire off, we can look at the ball joint and you can see this one is shot. The rubber boot has torn open and it is no good, so it's time to replace it. So we're going to have to first remove the little pin there off the castle nut, pull that out, and then loosen up the castle nut. Might want to spray this down with penetrating fluid, of course. After we get that off and loosen that up, we'll have to remove this bolt here, which holds the ball joint. Got vice grips on that pin. It's coming out slowly. There we go, got the pin out. Probably one of the easier pins I removed. Alright, so the castle nut at the bottom here is 19 millimeters. Longer breaker bar here. There it goes. Oh. So next, we have this 14 millimeter bolt right here. So if the castle nut loosened here at the bottom, we've got to remove this 14 millimeter bolt right there. Loosen it. Actually, use the regular breaker here. Ooh. Should have locked the wheel. Get the big breaker bar again. Sometimes a little bit of helpful encouragement helps get these off. Hitting the breaker bar with the hammer helped get it loose. I think I can ratchet it off now. There we go. That's a bugger. And there's that 14 millimeter bolt. Now we just need the hammer, the control arm. I'm gonna try prying down the control arm. It's slowly coming out now. Oh yeah. It's out now. Alright. I'm going to loosen that castle nut again. It's pretty much out almost now. I'm just going to take this castle nut off all the way. So I tighten the lug nut back on. Not the lug nut, the castle nut. And now it's free, as you can see. Take off the castle nut. Hopefully this will just slide right out now. I think it will. If it doesn't, well, since if this doesn't slide right out, since this is bad, I can just hopefully tap it out. Well, that was easy. So there we go. Took a little bit of work, but basically a little bit of tightening and loosening of that castle nut, and we got it out of there. So a bit of hammer work, tighten up the castle nut a bit, hammer it out of there. It'll eventually pop out with some leverage, of course, against the control arm. Once it's out, push this aside, and then just take off the castle nut, and there you go. And as you can see, it's torn. With the old ball joint off, we can now put on the new one. Here is the new one and the part number. This should be the same, I believe, for all Subarus. I think they pretty much use all the same ball joint. Don't take my word on that, but they seem to fit almost all of the Subarus. I'm sure there's some specialty ones out there. So I think these are supposed to come with grease from the factory, but I went ahead and put a very thin line of grease right here. And this also comes with a castle nut and a pin. This castle nut feels really cheap though. I don't know if I like that. It's aluminum. That's what Subaru gave me. I don't know if I like that though. I don't know, the old one feels heavier than the new one. Interesting. But I guess let's just slide up in here. So I did some messing around off camera and I figured out how to get this on. So what you want to do is get the stud in first, then put on your lug nut, then roughly get this top portion of your ball joint lined up where it's supposed to line into the hole. And then once you have it somewhat lined up, you can turn it and wiggle it. If you turn the wheel like I do right here, then you just give it a light tap of a hammer, it should start going up in there. And there we go, the new ball joint is in. So you just, once you have that stud through the hole there, put on your castle nut, and then get this top roughly lined up, get your hammer, hit it on the bottom of the control arm, and eventually it should start sliding up. I put some Vaseline on the top of the ball joint to help it slide in there a little smoother, and that definitely helped it go in. And then once it's in, we can thread in our 14mm bolt. And I should also mention the new castle nut they provided is 15mm instead of 19. Then we take our 14mm bolt, put it back on there, and this will secure the ball joint. The new castle nut right there they provided is 17mm instead of 19, so it's smaller. Go ahead and tighten that up nice and snug, and then we'll torque it down. With the steering wheel locked, you can now torque down the ball joint castle nut. If you have steel control arms, it should be about 33 foot-pounds, and if you have aluminum, I believe it's about 22 foot-pounds. There we go, 33 foot-pounds. Then of course make sure everything's aligned so you can get the cotter pin inside the castle nut. If the hole isn't lined up perfectly, tighten the castle nut. And then of course bend it to your liking.